112 years ago, the UP Board of Regents had a vision to develop their true firstborn college that will spearhead national development through agriculture. At the foot of Mount Makiling, Edwin B. Copeland, together with 7 faculty and 12 students, embarked on the journey to create the UP College of Agriculture, or UPCA. Through its 112 years of existence, the college has produced over 1,000 technologies and variety of plants and animals, 9 national scientists, over 30 outstanding young scientists, and more than 18,000 graduates contributing to agricultural development. UPCA, now College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, has been continuously contributing to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension function. A mere 10 years after establishment, the college was able to start breeding works with the production of sugarcane varieties with high productivity and resistance to Fiji and mosaic disease. In the 1920s, the importance of agriculture was intensified and UPCA was recognized as neighboring countries began sending their students to Los Baños because of the high quality of education. In the 1930s, breeds with superior characteristics such as the Burkhala pig, Los Baños Cantonese chicken, and Philippine cattle were developed. The 1960s was a fruitful decade for research. Makapuno, a coconut cultivar often made into a dessert, was pioneered and perfected. Meanwhile, the Dairy Training and Research Institute was the first in the country to freeze buffalo semen, paving the way for artificial insemination of local carabaos. Along with the establishment of UPLB in the 70s, the college received the prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for International Understanding, Asia's counterpart for the Nobel Peace Prize. In the same decade, the C4 plants were developed. The soil test kits were produced in support of the Masagana 99 program, and the mango induction technique was introduced. Continuing the production of quality research outputs in the 1980s, techniques to minimize post-harvest losses, the accelerated fish sauce manufacturing process, and the rapid test kit for the detection of pesticide residue on vegetables were developed. The 1990s saw many new varieties across species or crop types, including Sinta papaya, the first Philippine-bred hybrid, UPLB Gold, a durian variety, and Doña Amelita, a musaenda named after the wife of former President Fidel Ramos. The award-winning National Corn-Based Farmer Scientist RDE Training Program, or FSTP, was also established around this time and still remains as one of the university's primary extension programs. In the field of instruction, the book titled Integrating Sustainable Agriculture in the BSA Curriculum, the UPLB College of Agriculture Experience, was published in 1999. At present, the College of Agriculture and Food Science, or CAFS, continues to be the premier institution of higher learning in agriculture and food science, and remains committed to nation building through its instruction, research, and extension programs. In order to produce the best graduates, all of our courses are outcomes-based education, and continuous improvement of the curriculum is being practiced to meet the challenges of the 21st century. As testament of excellence, CAFS is constantly recognized by different organizations. In research, we continue to implement relevant studies with focus on the 12 priority commodities to address food security. Moreover, technologies are constantly developed to aid in responsible food production. Supplementing these are extension activities to disseminate the knowledge generated to improve food productivity and livelihood of the people. We believe that present technologies will future-proof our food systems. Some of our notable developments are iDetect, Coraginam, Plant Health and Pest Clinic, Pest Management Tools and Techniques, Smarter Pest Identification Technology or SpeedTech, Snap Hydroponics, Drone Technology, Rapid Immunofilter Assay for Virus Indexing, Nanofertilizers Fertigrow, Hormogrow, Nanobiosensors, Biochar. We at the College of Agriculture and Food Science will continue to promote and nurture a culture with innovative yet conscientious minds and cutting-edge skills to lead and serve the country and the region. We are one college with one goal towards sustainable food systems.
Good day, mga ka-freshness from all over the Philippines and anywhere else in the world. Welcome to the special edition of Fresh Talks, the PHTRC webinar series, episode 5, the third and final installment of the PHTRC's month-long 44th anniversary webinars. Ito po si Deng Maunahan and I will be your host for today's webinar. Let's get started with our program by calling on Ms. Nirvana Ramos to lead our opening prayer, and this will be followed by a presentation of the PHTRC story, which will be presented to us by Ms. Ginibet Casa.
Hear our prayer. We are your children and we're gathered here today.
Southeast Asia is predominantly agricultural, But increased production of horticulture crops has not been adequate to meet demand. The main cause is high post-harvest loss. A Philippine survey on selected fruits and vegetables showed that post-harvest losses ranged from 32 to 78% or even higher under unfavorable circumstances such as typhoons and delayed shipment. Post-harvest handling system is the weakest link in the production marketing chain for fresh produce. High post-harvest losses mean less available food and reduced income for farmers and traders. The time, resources, and labor used for production are also wasted. If losses are reduced by 10%, the country could save millions of pesos per year. The present PHTRC without the ASEAN is known simply as PHTRC. Its vision is to be the center of academic and technological excellence on post-harvest science of tropical horticultural crops in the ASEAN region that is internationally connected and industry-oriented. Its mission is to modernize and enhance the global competitiveness of the Philippine horticulture industry through post-harvest systems development and improvement. The center is guided by its three major mandates. Most post-harvest basic researches in the country are done at PHTRC. It covers morphoanatomy, biochemistry, pathology and entomology, post-harvest physiology, biotechnology, engineering studies conducted in collaboration with the Agricultural and Bioprocessing Division of the Institute of Agricultural Engineering, UPLB, and socioeconomics. These basic researches have led to the development of technologies. The PHTRC Extension Program and activities include action research projects and technical assistance to industry. PHTRC also offers summer short courses and regular courses for different industry stakeholders, holds conferences and study tours, participates in various agri-exhibits nationwide. The PHTRC has produced educational materials on post-harvest handling. It also continues to provide assistance to the horticulture industry, academic institutions, and research agencies. Through the years, PHTRC has supported instruction. It handles 8 subjects, leading to post-harvest field of specialization that is being offered by the Institute of Crop Science. It also supports instructional activities by initiating courses, publishing teaching materials, and providing its facilities for the courses. Today, the PHTRC continues its research and extension programs towards reducing losses, maintaining quality, and ensuring safety of perishable crops. The PHTRC still faces the challenge of generating more basic information. It has to develop new and better post-harvest technologies and systems. It has to address training needs and strengthen the post-harvest extension delivery system. All these are being done towards a globally competitive horticulture industry.
And now to formally open, okay, let's go to the house rules first. We will be having a question and answer segment after the presentations of our resource speakers. And should you have questions, kindly type in those at the Zoom Q&A section or the Facebook comment section if you're participating via our Facebook page. And at the end of the webinar, kindly accomplish the evaluation form to receive an e-certificate. And now we formally open today's program with opening remarks from our director, Dr. Dormita Del Carmen.
Pleasant and fresh morning po sa ating lahat. On behalf of the men and women of the Post-Harvest Horticulture Training and Research Center, we warmly welcome our guests and participants to the third and culminating episode of the special webinar series of Fresh Talks in celebration of the Center's 44th founding anniversary. Since today, yes, October 27, marks the Center's founding anniversary, Allow me to refresh you a little bit of our history. The PHTRC was established in 1977 in response to a United Nations General Assembly resolution of reducing post-harvest losses, especially in developing countries. So from 1977 to 1985, it served as the ASEAN Regional Center for post-harvest training and research on horticultural perishables. And it is our pride that successful post-harvest practitioners in our neighboring countries like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Singapore were trained here. After fulfilling its mission, the center was turned over to the Philippine government in mid-1985, and from then on has intensified its efforts in responding to the needs of the Philippine horticulture industry. The PHTRC continues to implement a comprehensive program for the improvement of post-harvest systems for fresh produce, including fruits, vegetables, and cut flowers, among others. It conducts basic research for technology development and builds capacities of the different stakeholders in the supply chain. Since today is a very special day, we have a star-studded panelist or resource persons for this episode. One from the well-established producer-supplier sector, and the three others from the government sector managing the famous Kadiwa Center program that successfully linked farmers direct to markets and consumers and facilitate the distribution of fresh fruits and vegetables from the various production centers to the consumption centers of the country, especially during this pandemic. As in the previous episode, I would like to reiterate that this special webinar series aimed to provide a forum for a multi-sectoral discussion of the challenges and opportunities in the post-harvest handling of fresh produce during these difficult times. Through this, we hope to present the evolving roles and coping mechanisms of the different actors or sectors in the horticulture industry, the private, the government, and others, in ensuring the availability of quality fresh produce for the consumers. Eventually, we can identify areas of cooperation and establish collaboration among the various stakeholders for further upliftment of the industry, in particular in pursuing loss reduction programs that will impact on the attainment of food security, poverty reduction, and environmental sustainability goals of the country. At this point, I would like to acknowledge and thank our regular Ka-Freshness attendees and our new viewers via Zoom and FB Live from the different parts of the country for eagerly participating in our Fresh Talk webinar series. Most of all, I would like to give due recognition and utmost gratitude to our pillars, our past directors and mentors, some of whom are here with us today, who are continuously providing guidance and sharing their wisdom and expertise to help the center respond to the needs of the times. Of course, I would like also to acknowledge the efforts and cooperation of our current staff, especially the Extension Committee headed by Dr. Deng Maunahan, for putting up the 3 consecutive special weekly webinar series. Last but not least, I would like to express our sincere thanks over again the men and women of our College of Agriculture and Food Science led by Dean Elpidio Agbisit Jr. for continuously supporting the PHTRC's programs and activities. Thank you all for joining. I hope you will enjoy today's segment. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Del Carmen. At this point, we are pleased and honored to have with us on this very special day the ever-supportive Dean of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, Dr. Elpidio Agbisit Jr., to share an inspirational message for us. Sir?
Hi, Ma'am Deng. Do you hear me properly?
Yes,
Ma'am Deng,
po.
okay ba? Okay. So, of course, to the organizers of this webinar series, the movers and builders of Post-Harvest Horticulture Training and Research Center, of course, led by their hardworking director, Dr. Dermita Del Carmen, to all our esteemed speakers, guests, to sa ating mga ka-freshness, and of course, our participants in today's webinar, a pleasant, refreshing, and blessed morning to all. Hope everyone is safe and healthy. On behalf of the College of Agriculture and Food Science, I wish to welcome you in the third day of the webinar series, Perspectives, Challenges, and Opportunities in the Post-Harvest Handling of Fresh Produce During the Pandemic. Today's webinar features the government project Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita, a project of the Department of Agriculture, an initiative that aims to facilitate the efficient movement of agriculture products. Participants may learn a lot on this government initiative, an example of a government-private partnership that aims to make fresh produce available to everyone, especially now that mobility is restricted due to the quarantine restrictions imposed in different places in the country. This initiative will also help minimize post-harvest loss and produce that do not reach the market. This may also give an idea to organizers or groups who are wanting to help farmers market their produce. As we all know, there are already several startups that ventured into agriculture with the aim of bringing fresh produce to the market. We at the College of Agriculture and Food Science, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, believe that the Department of Agriculture and these private entities are partners in ensuring that everyone will have access to fresh foods and in attaining food-secured Philippines. Of course, I would like to greet PHTRC, happy anniversary, 44 years of service to the nation, and of course, another 6 years till our golden anniversary. To you, our dear participants, I hope that you will learn a lot in this morning's webinar and share your learnings to everyone. Together, let us achieve a future where nutritious food is always available. Hiraya Manawari, may all our aspirations and dreams come true, and God bless us all. Good morning to everyone again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agdisit, for those very inspiring words indeed, and we'll keep all those in mind as we move forward. Before we go on with the webinar overview, at this point, shout out muna po tayo to some ka-freshnesses na nagparamdam na this morning. May I enumerate first? Palawan State U, Isabela State U, Mindoro State University, Negros Oriental State U, Dr. Yangas College, NEUST Gabaldon, hindi ko alam kung anong school to, Davao City, and SCBMCI Kiblawan. And of course, welcome also to the panel, our former PHTRC Director, Dr. Ofi Bautista. Okay, and so now we move on to the overview. What's in store for us for the rest of this half-day event? So today's webinar is the final installment of the PHTRC's almost month-long seminar series in celebration of its 44th founding anniversary. And we originally planned a single-day webinar with a long list of speakers from the various sectors of the horticulture value chain, but eventually we decided on a three-part series to highlight each sector's role and take on the state of fresh produce handling, especially during these difficult times during the pandemic. So last week, the resource person walked us through and amazed us with the huge developments and possibilities in the field of logistics and distribution. And today, we are fortunate to have a star-studded cast of guests, and she'll focus on the challenges and opportunities from the point of view of a producer-supplier, a famed and established name in the industry, and from the government side, the experience of the Department of Agriculture, Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service in implementing the Kadiwa project from Luzon to as far as the Zamboanga Peninsula in Mindanao amidst the COVID-19 triggered supply chain disruptions. The presentations will be followed by an open forum where our participants will have the opportunity to pose questions and clarifications from our distinguished guests. So let's get the ball rolling then. To introduce our guest speakers for today's webinar, may we call on Ms. Leonisa Artes, Chair of the PHTRC's in-house seminar committee. Leonie?
For today's webinar, we have 4 speakers, 1 from the private sector and 3 from the Department of Agriculture. First, we have Mr. Francisco Dizon III, a very successful businessman here in the country as well as in abroad. He is a UPLB alumni. He took up BS Agriculture, major in horticulture. He also finished Master in Business Administration in California, and then later took up courses in citrus production from University of California at Riverside. He has also attended trainings and study visits in Thailand, China, and Israel. With this background, he has been the director of Dizon Farms since 1975 and of Global Fresh Corporation at present. He's also the president and CEO of Aldis Corporation since 1977, a fertilizer and agricultural chemical company. He's also the director of Minda Corporation Citrus Farms since 1989, which is based in California. And he's also the president and CEO of Sweet Bee Farms in 2001. With such, has been chosen as an outstanding UPLB alumni in 2017 in the field of agriculture. So without much further ado, may we hear from Mr. Boy Dizon, as he is known to most people. Welcome po, sir. Good morning. Thank you for coming.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Okay. Good morning. Julius, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm going to share your screen. Stand by. There.
Okay.
Trying to share it now. And I'm not sure if you could see it already. Slideshow. Play from start. Okay, just double checking. Can you guys see it already?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Dizon, please proceed. And you just say next slide, and I will shift to the next slide.
Good morning to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank the PHTRC organizers for inviting me in this event. Well, I didn't know that the PHTRC was formed in 1977, because when I was taking my major in agronomy, I remember that Dr. Fantastico was the one teaching me the post-harvest aspect with his assistant, Dr. Totoy Mendoza. Well, I thought during that time it was already existing. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for the proper and nice introduction. And what I want to discuss today is not related to exclusively on the post-harvest side. And I just want to share what I have been doing for the past 36 years with regards to durian. Because durian is one fruit which I believe has not been tapped. I mean, the potential of this industry. Okay? And what happened with me in 36 years ago was that I had the opportunity of buying 200 grafted seedlings from the nursery of our beloved Dean Dr. Dioscoro Umali. And after 7 years, I tasted the fruits, and I was amazed that I was able to get 3 varieties. And from these 3 varieties, I have been propagating it in a small way. Since the potential here in the Philippines is not that big, because as you know, Filipinos, majority do not like eating durian. It is just a minority. But recently, during the past 20 years, I have been hearing that there is a big demand of durian in China. As we know, the population of China is 1.4 billion, and they have started to learn eating durian 20 years ago, and 20 years later, I was able to find out that the total imports of China with regards to durian is about $2.4 billion. And practically, if you compare the population and the volume being imported in China, it is just less than 1 kilo per person. That includes the peel. So, about 8 years ago, I have been studying the different types of culture of durian. And what I have done was to apply the basic practices I have learned on citrus in California. So, with this in mind and with this objective, I have been expanding my farms on certain varieties with the goal of developing a brand name and a market here in the Philippines, especially for the Filipino-Chinese community and also for the overseas Chinese workers who are employed here in the Philippines. So I have been successful in doing this, and during this pandemic, we have found out that the durian varieties which we have selected are acceptable to the overseas Chinese. So what I'm going to share is the basic techniques on how to develop a farm and how to produce the fruits. So Julius, can you show them the pictures?
Okay.
So Julius, go back to the figures, please.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so this is the situation in China. So this is the current, these are the figures in 2019. As you would see, Thailand exports about 94%, Malaysia exports 5%. But recently, there are new players, and I believe Thailand exports 80%, and the rest are being shared by Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. But still, the demand of durian in China is not being met. If we compare the banana industry, the total import of China last year was about $400 million, and the import of durian in China was $2.4 billion. So we would see now that the biggest fruit import of China is durian, and followed by cherries. I never realized that cherries is a very big import item in China. Okay, Julius. So please proceed. Please show the fruits, Julius.
I just have one fruit here.
Okay. So just the fruit, Julius.
Just the fruit. Okay, there you are.
So this is the ultimate objective, to produce the variety and the quality with all the necessary good taste desired by a consumer. So with that goal, I always put in mind that I want to put my own nursery. Just to make sure, because I don't want to be disappointed after 7 years that the fruit I may get is not the right fruit which I want. Okay? So I put my own nursery, and it takes about 2 years before I can plant it in the field. So this is a nursery. A nursery wherein this picture was taken, I believe, a year before the pandemic. So that means it was 2019. And you would see that there's one plant planted in the field, and that is the Puyat durian, which is very popular in Mindanao. But that is not my main variety. I use Puyat only as a pollinator. Okay? Julius, please proceed. How about the open field, Julius, with the
Okay.
canals?
Okay.
And,
There you are. There you are. Yes.
Okay. So in developing an area, we have to consider a lot of things which is ideal for a plant for planting of any crops. So this is sandy loam soil with and some silty loam and clay loam soil. And this is an abandoned banana farm which I leased, and eventually started the necessary land preparation. And one thing which we have to consider first is the drainage. Durian, being a very sensitive crop on waterlogging, needs good drainage, and during the dry period, it also needs watering. Okay, Julius, please proceed. So this is a durian farm in Bukidnon. It's near Cagayan de Oro, and as you would see, these are of different ages. So this is a calamansi farm which has been producing for 10 years, and I've been selling calamansi to Cebu and Manila, and also in Cagayan de Oro. So finally, I decided to convert it into durian because my market has been growing and I need the land to develop it. So this is an elevation of about 400 meters above sea level. And as you know, the climatic condition of Region 10 is distinct wet and dry season. And it's wet from May up to October, and November up to April, it's dry season. So I have to put an irrigation system to support the trees during the summer months. Okay, Julius, please proceed. Anyway, these are some of our old trees, and as you look on the right, there is one tree which was one of the trees which I bought from Dr. Umali, and I'm lucky enough to have a tree which survives this number of years, because durian is sensitive to Phytophthora. Okay, and I have here a 13-year-old durian, and this tree is in its stage of full production. Okay, Julius, please proceed. So you would see here a row of durian, and these durian trees are now approaching 8 years. And it has been in commercial production when it was 6 years old, so 7 years old, and now it's 8 years old. So an 8 years old tree can produce about 30 to 40 fruits with an average of about 2 kilos per tree. So the planting distance here is 10 by 10. So the population per hectare is about 100. Okay, Julius, please proceed. So I have a tree here, which is which doesn't have a canopy on one side because of its heavy fruiting. Half of the branches of this tree were broken during a strong wind because of poor propping system, and what came out is are fruits which are inside the tree. So they were exposed. This was not intentional, but I just requested my farm in charge to take a picture so that to observe and find out the density of the fruits. So you would see that these fruits are evenly distributed because we practice thinning. So when plants are already hitting each other, we normally thin the fruits for it to develop properly. Okay, so Julius, please proceed. So this is a typical durian inside a durian tree during fruiting. I believe these fruits are would be harvested about 60 days before harvest. So that would be about 1 kilo or less. Durian in my place can be harvested 115 to 120 days after fruit set. Okay, Julius, please proceed. So these are the fruits which were harvested, and as you see, they're almost uniform, and the color of the fruit is very unique because it's greenish compared to the common durian you can find in the bough, which are the puyat variety, which are brown colored. Julius, please proceed. So anyway, these pictures were taken about 2 to 3 months ago, and these are the fruits which were shown from the previous slide. So these are sold in exclusive supermarkets here in Metro Manila, like Rustan's, Landmark, SM, Robinson Supermarket, and majority consumers of the sweet bee durian are overseas Chinese. So this, I believe, are people working with the POGO here in Metro Manila. Well, I read that there are about 3 million overseas Chinese here in the Philippines now. Okay, Julius, please proceed. Well, there was this inquiry from a friend of ours about the possibility of them importing durian to Taiwan. And I told them I don't have any sufficient volume of fruits which I can sell to you because we have a good market here in the Philippines. Anyway, I believe through his own initiative, he did some inquiry on their quarantine, and he was told that the initiative to open a market should come from our Philippine government and not from the private sector. Okay, Julius, please proceed.
That was it. That was your last
So
slide.
anyway, that's my short presentation, and I'm open to questions later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Leonie, can we introduce the other speakers then?
Okay, now this time let's hear from the Department of Agriculture. First, we have Director Ramon Yedra, the officer in charge of DA AMAS, or the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service. Before becoming the officer in charge, he was the Deputy Executive Director of the Philippine Agriculture Credit Policy Council. He has also short-term consultancies with international agencies such as FAO, IFAD, and APRACA. He finished his studies from the University of the Philippines at Los Baños, taking up PhD in Community Development and Master in Management. So that's Director Ramon Yedra. Next speaker will be Ms. Joyce Moica Bengo. She is the officer in charge of Market Development Division of DA AMAS, Quezon City. She finished Master in Public Management, major in Rural Development from Development Academy of the Philippines, which was co-sponsored by Ateneo de Manila. She is the team leader of the Kadiwa program of the Department of Agriculture, which is very in demand nowadays. So that's Ms. Joyce Moica Bengo. Next to her, our speaker will be coming from the south, from Zamboanga City, no other than Ms. Marisa Sukot Mohammed. She is the Chief Agriculturist from DA Region 9, Zamboanga City. She finished Master in Public Administration from Western Mindanao State University. And before that, she took up 2 undergrad courses. First, she finished BS Education in 1977, and later she took up BS Agriculture in 1980. Okay, so that's Ms. Marisa Suko Mohammed from Zamboanga City. So let's hear from our speakers for today's webinar from the Department of Agriculture. Let us listen and learn from their talks.
Director Yedra.
Magandang araw po sa lahat. Unang-una po, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa pag-imbita ng UPLB Post-Harvest Training and Research Center at binabati ko kayo ng inyong 44th anniversary. So we would like to thank you for inviting us and giving us the opportunity to present to you our Kadiwa program from the Department of Agriculture. So I'm going to give a background on our program that we have implemented during the pandemic. By the way, I'm Ramon Yedra, and I'm the director of the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service of the Department of Agriculture. Kadiwa. Kadiwa actually stands for Katuwang sa Diwa at Gawa. It's actually a public-private community partnership. So it's a shoulder-to-shoulder partnership between and amongst DA, LGUs, the private sector, and cooperatives, farmers, and MSMEs. Actually, Kadiwa is our program intervention in pursuit of our goal for a food secure and resilient Philippines with empowered and prosperous farmers and fisherfolk. Yan yung aming tagline na masaganang ani at mataas na kita. So our vision is for a food secure and resilient Philippines. No? Kahit na tayo'y tamaan ng kalamidad at kagaya na nangyari last year, tinamaan tayo ng pandemic. So nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, binuhos po ng Department of Agriculture ang kanyang efforts to reboot and regrow the economy, in particular the agricultural sector. Ito po yung DA Food Security Strategy, no? 4 pillars yan, no? 4 pillars. Ang nariyan ay one is to ensure that there's available food for everybody. And number 2 is to ensure that there's safe and healthy food for its populace. And to ensure that such healthy food are not only available, but they are accessible and affordable, particularly to the low-income sectors. And the 4th pillar is to ensure that we are protected from shocks. No? As you are well aware of, Philippines is often visited by calamities, natural calamities, in particular typhoons. No? And we have made efforts at the department to ensure that there's an appropriate and immediate response whenever certain calamities struck our country. So this is part of our food security framework that we adopt at the department. And Kadiwa is our major intervention to ensure that there is always accessible and affordable food. Actually, Kadiwa program started even before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, we thought of expanding it because there was a need for such intervention. So this is just to give you how we fare in terms of food security compared to other countries and the impact of the pandemic last year. So this gives you the rating that we have and the ranking of the Philippines in terms of food security. So as you can see, the red ones means that we had a reduction in the scores, and that's a result of the pandemic. But as you can see, availability was not affected. In fact, we had a better score than the previous year. despite the pandemic. According to this index, no, our strengths are those that are listed here. Prices are stable. We made sure that there's not much food loss. No? There's access by our participants, by our producers, from access to markets and finance. And overall, we made sure that there is available food for our populace. No? The weakness only is in terms of, compared to other countries, no? In terms of safety nets. No? And that means in terms of the subsidies, food subsidies that we have extended compared to other countries. But that doesn't mean that we did not provided safety measures needed by the most vulnerable sectors of our economy. And here, the remaining challenge appeared to be the infrastructures. No? Yung kulang pa rin tayo dun sa, in terms of infrastructures, yung relative to other countries. Kaya we had relatively lower score on that indicator. So where are we good at? We are good at, we have a very strong food and food manufacturing industry and food services sector. So they had a very good growth prior to the pandemic. So it was a robust growth. This was brought about by improved consumer demand, no? Because as you are well aware of, prior to the pandemic, we had consistent more than 6% GDP growth. And sana, ano na nga tayo tumaas na yung level natin ng, from a lower middle income to the next level. No? But it was disrupted by the pandemic. So we have a very strong food processing manufacturing industry, and 90% of the output of that sector is domestic. No? So, and then we have prior to the pandemic, we had a very good food services sector. As you can see, there are many food establishments prior to the pandemic. And these two subsectors give a good demand for agricultural product commodities. No? The weakness, the challenges remain to be, number one is logistics. Compared to other countries, our logistics, the cost of our logistics, bringing in goods, no? Within the borders, no? Yung from island to island, and then through roads, it's very costly compared to other countries. It's almost thrice compared to Thailand. No? So it's a limitation, and it remains to be the major challenge, in our among our market players in the food industry. Then we have still challenges as far as our value chain, our supply chains, no? And among this, you all know this. There's difficulty to get economies of scale because of our land holdings are small. No, there's a multi-layered supply chain, and as far as some commodities, basic commodities like fruits and vegetables, they are dominated by traders. No? The prices are dominated by traders, not by the producers. And there's not really poor, but weak, probably post-harvest handling of food commodities among our producers, that from assembly point to bringing it to the consumer markets. So given those challenges, we thought of coming up with an intervention both on the supply side and the food distribution side. So at the supply side, what we did is to provide assistance, capacity building assistance to farmers cooperatives so that they are better able to become assemblers or setting up packing facilities, pre-processing facilities, storage, and improvement on logistics. This is the one that we focus on during the pandemic because the bringing in of goods from the provinces was hampered, no, due to many checkpoints, and there were problems in bringing in goods. So we intervened in that, and we provided some assistance to our FCAs, to farmer cooperatives and associations. Then we continued strengthening and using, during the pandemic, the provincial trading posts. These are actually baksakan, drop-off points, consolidation points of principally fruits and vegetables in the provinces. The biggest that we still have, is the Benguet agri-trading post. No? Then we use digital platforms to link the suppliers to consumers, no, and buyers. No? So we had established some digital ICT-based platforms for linking them up, and we made a lot of efforts on business-to-business linkage, supplier, farmer cooperatives, and linking them directly with those retailers and sellers through our what we call Kadiwa chain of stores, which will be explained later on by Joyce. No? The different modalities of Kadiwa will be explained later on. So because of the pandemic, we thought of providing assistance to improve the movement of goods, and that's why we had this Kadiwa financial grant program. In this picture, there's this is Region 4A, and they provided some grants to cooperatives who are partners of Kadiwa. No? So what did these are lessons learned? What did the pandemic reveal? No? The first that we see is, kumbaga nagising tayo. No? When the pandemic comes, then we see the vulnerability of our food systems. You know, if you're bringing in goods from as far as Benguet and as far as Nueva Vizcaya, and there's a disruption in the value chain, or you're bringing in goods from the Visayas, inter-island, and you have this pandemic, there's a disruption in the supply chain, then your food system is really vulnerable. No? So in that case, we saw that there's a definite need and a critical role for the government to intervene. No? At normal times, we let the market forces go on its own. No? So we believe in the efficiency of the market. No? But during the pandemic, we saw the need that somehow left on their own, they cannot solve the problem. So there is a need in terms of this case, in this case, like what the pandemic has revealed, there's a critical role on the government as far as regulation, because you have to ensure that the prices are stable. So in the initial stage, we set price ceilings by virtue of the Price Act, so that to ensure that the certain period, initial period of the ECQ, there will be no uptick or abnormal uptick in prices, because that will severely affect the populace, particularly the low-income sector. No? So we did that for limited period. You have to do some regulation in terms of setting prices of basic commodities. But again, that's for a limited period. And coupled with it, so that the market players are not affected because you set ceilings, we made interventions to smoothen the disruption in the supply chain. So we had, at the time, we had to have 24/7 call centers wherein the suppliers can call us as far as the mountains in Benguet or in Cabinti in Laguna, and call us that there's a checkpoint and they don't permit the goods delivery of goods. No, so the government has to do that. The government has to unblock the disruption in the supply chain. Then the third lesson that we learned is because of the movement of goods was severely affected by the pandemic, we saw the need of digitalization. So we thought of, there's less physical contact, so you have to do, and you have to use ICT technologies, no? So that you can still continue the market linkage. No? And then we saw the importance of logistics. No? So it's not about making sure that food is available in the consumer, to the consumers in urban, particularly in the urban cities. Then logistics is very important. No? So it revealed the weaknesses in our infrastructures during the pandemic. So from then on, then we realized that the government must really do something about improving our infrastructures in terms of movement of goods, and that's logistics. So, despite all those challenges, we're happy to report that the Philippines had remained food secure despite the pandemic. So rest assured that the department did its best to make sure that food was made available, accessible, and affordable to its populace, and that was evidenced by stable food prices. So thank you very much, and Joyce will explain the Kadiwa modalities that our office has implemented. Magandang araw po uli sa inyong lahat.
Magandang araw. I am Joyce Bengo of the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service, Market Development Division. Today, I'll be presenting the challenges, opportunities in the implementation of the Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita program. Before we proceed in that discussion, I would like to discuss with you briefly the specific modalities and how the Kadiwa evolved to be more responsive to the current situation due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita program is a direct marketing scheme where producers are directly linked with the consuming public, making available food commodities at reasonable prices to consumers through Kadiwa retail stores that are strategically located to be accessible to consuming public. Kadiwa is loosely translated as one idea, one thought. The Kadiwa project was launched in September 2019 at FTI Taguig City. However, it has evolved into one of the major programs of the DA. Program objectives are the following: to make accessible and available quality agri-fishery products at affordable prices to the urban poor and their families. Second, to establish an additional market for farmers and fisher folks, thereby increasing their respective incomes. And then lastly, to ensure the stability of the price and supply of food and other basic commodities within the urban poor areas. In 2019, when Kadiwa was launched, Kadiwa is focused on retail selling, providing space for farmers for direct selling. However, Kadiwa evolved to further ensure food availability and accessibility amidst pandemic. Kadiwa on Wheels was one of the new modalities introduced. Similar to rolling store or mobile market, it targets low-income communities and high-demand consumer areas. In the picture, you can see the Kadiwa on Wheels used to bring affordable agri-produce to communities. Kadiwa implementation will not be a success without the strong support of LGUs, private sector, and other government agencies. For instance, our partner gasoline stations, electric cooperatives, villages and subdivisions, LGUs and other government institutions such as the DTI, DOLE, TUCP, DOE are among our active partners. They provide space for our farmers to sell to consumers. Katulad po na inyong nakikita sa screen, wherein we have partnered with DTI na Diskwento Caravan, Kadiwa Sale with one of LGUs in NCR, and Kadiwa selling activities in DA regional offices. Kadiwa is also active in commercial malls. Through our partnership with Resto PH, Association of Restaurant Owners, the DA was able to bring Kadiwa in different commercial malls. To date, we have more than 200 regular outlets across the country. In the NCR, there are already 35 regular outlets. This does not include yet additional areas upon request of partners. Meron po kasi tayong mga sudden invitations or requests ng ating partners, and doon po binibigyan natin ng pagkakataon po yung mga partners natin na magkaroon ng Kadiwa selling activities sa mga lugar po nila. Kadiwa Online is another modality utilizing available social media pages to do pre-ordering of products of farmers. During the height of ECQ in 2020, the DA facilitated the procurement of LGUs from farmers for their relief food packs. Kadiwa Express, on the other hand, is the logistics assistance of the DA in bringing produce to its target market. Usually, this is provided to group of farmers who need to bring their produce from trading posts to institutional buyers. Next one is the eKadiwa. The eKadiwa is an e-marketing platform or e-marketplace. So you may visit our website www.ekadiwa.da.gov.ph to order fresh produce and deliver it to your doorstep. So as of the moment, ito pong operation natin ng eKadiwa is dito po sa NCR. Kadiwa total sales in the regions reached 870 million pesos na po. Sa Kadiwa retail selling in the NCR already reached po na 200 million pesos. So yan pong mga sales na nakikita nyo po sa screen ay yung mga naabot na po na sales natin through our Kadiwa program. Value of goods delivered through Kadiwa Express ay nasa 7 billion pesos na po. So the program benefited more than 60,000 farmers na po to date. So ito pong mga beneficiaries na ito ay mga individual farmers, farmer groups, and enterprises. In the first few months of COVID pandemic, the DA conceptualized an intervention that will help farmers to further participate in the value chain. The DA saw that there is a need to capacitate these partners in ensuring food our farmers, our partners in food distribution and food security para maging sustainable po yung ating Kadiwa program. The DA was able to request additional budget for the enhanced Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita Financial Grant Assistance Program. So hindi po ito loan, ito po ay grant na binibigay sa mga eligible organizations katulad po ng mga farmers and fisher folks cooperatives and associations na registered po sa mga relevant government agencies and ganun din po ang mga community-based organizations. So the FCAs and CBOs are our partners to be Kadiwa distributors, assemblers, and consolidators. So FCAs and CBOs are eligible organizations at ang isa pa po namin dinagdag dito ay ang mga LGUs and SUCs na pwede pong maka-avail nitong mga financial grant packages na nakikita nyo po sa inyong screen. So meron po tayo mga grant packages na umaabot ng 1 million to 5 million pesos. So ito po ay pwede nilang gamitin sa pag-purchase ng delivery vehicle, working capital, packing facilities or amenities for retail selling and distribution. So kung ano man po yung kailangan ng ating FCAs and CBOs ay ipapasok lamang po nila ito sa project proposal and isasabit po ito kasama ng mga documentary requirements. So ito po i-evaluate namin if they are eligible to apply for that grant assistance. Looking forward to a more sustainable and regular operations of Kadiwa, the DA now included a grant to set up a Kadiwa store. So it is a physical outlet that will operate as convenience store for fresh produce, meat, fish, and iba pa pong mga agri-fishery products. So katulad po ng mga pictures sa inyong screen, ito po yung ating mga existing Kadiwa stores na po na makikita sa iba't ibang lugar. To date, there are already 205 beneficiaries of the grant. In this picture is a group of farmers in Benguet which use their grant assistance to purchase delivery vehicle to consolidate vegetables of their members to deliver them to direct buyers. So, ginamit po nila yan sa pagbili po ng vehicle at ngayon po ay nakakatulong na itong sasakyan na ito sa pag-consolidate ng mga produkto ng kanilang mga members. The Kaayunan Multi-Purpose Cooperative in Basud, Camarines Norte is also one of our grant beneficiaries. They received 2 million financial grant at binili po nila yung 10-wheeler truck mula po dito sa grant assistance na ito. So ayon po sa Kaayunan MPC ay malaki po ang naging benefits nitong Kadiwa grant sa kanila. Katulad na lamang po ng direct access po nila ngayon sa market, na minimize yung participation ng middlemen and other unnecessary trading layers. Tumaas daw po yung kanilang income dahil they can command better prices na po ngayon. And nadagdagan din po yung income nila dahil hindi na po sila nagrerenta ng hauling trucks. And isa po sa nakita namin na mas encouraging po talaga ay dahil po nakita nilang profitable itong enterprise na nilang ito, kaya po nagkaroon sila ng enthusiasm and inspiration na ipagpatuloy po yung farming business po nila. So now punta na po tayo sa mga challenges na encounter po natin sa implementation po ng Kadiwa program. So unang-una po dito sa listahan natin yung suppliers concerned on health and safety, which is generally naman po sa ating lahat ay ito po ang issue natin and concern natin sa panahon ngayon. So may mga suppliers po kami na nagde-decline na mag-participate, nagdi-discontinue na mag-join sa mga selling activities natin due to health and safety. Noon pong kasagsagan po ng ECQ noong March, meron din po tayo nakita na mga disruption sa food supply. At ito naman po ay immediately na na-address. Meron din po tayo mga LGUs na nag-i-impose po ng very strict border protocols, katulad na lamang po ng pagka-quarantine ng 14 days bago po nila i-allow ulit yung mga farmers natin na makabalik sa kanilang mga pamilya. So isa po ito sa mga naging consideration po ng mga suppliers natin para mag-join at mag-participate sila sa Kadiwa. isa pa rin pong naging problema nila ay yung financial constraints. Ito po ay kakulangan po ng kapital para po mas makapag-consolidate sila ng products ng kanilang mga members. At dagdag na din po yung recently na mga concerns na kailangan pang magpa-swab test before they can join Kadiwa. So ito po ay dagdag pong gastos on the part of our FCAs. So ito po ay isa sa mga nakita po na challenges while implementing Kadiwa amidst pandemic. Nakita din po natin na bumababa po yung sales due to competition with other markets. Siyempre po noong time na lockdown, significantly mataas po talaga ang sales natin sa Kadiwa dahil po mas pinupuntahan ng mga tao yung Kadiwa selling activities natin dahil po sarado yung mga palengke noon. But ngayon po na mas nagbukas na po yung ating economy, meron na pong options ang ating mga consumers. Kaya po, syempre, hindi po maiiwasan ng competition, but we are already working on it. And then, nakita din po natin yung pagbaba ng sales dahil po, alam naman po natin na marami po tayong kababayan na nawalan po ng trabaho. Kaya po, isa din ito sa nakita namin na bumaba po yung purchasing power ng ating mga consumers. Hindi lamang po consumers, pati po institutional buyers, katulad po ng mga restaurants, which nag-order po noon regularly. However, dahil po nagkaroon po tayo ng mga protocols na hindi po muna pwede silang mag-operate, ay naging po rin ito dahilan para po maging bumaba din po ang sales ng ating mga suppliers. Hindi din po natin maiiwasan yung spoilage and post-harvest losses sa ating implementation since we are dealing with perishable goods. And syempre po, dahil nga nabanggit ko kanina, medyo nabawasan yung bumibili, syempre po ay naka-apekto din po ito doon sa mga produktong dinadala ng ating mga farmers. And lastly po, yung compliance sa documentary requirements for the financial grant. Meron po kami na-receive na report na medyo nahirapan po sila sa pag-comply ng documentary requirements. Kaya po we talk to concerned DA offices para po ma-facilitate po itong mga compliance na ito. And syempre, yun pong pag-comply nila dahil kailangan po nilang pumunta sa mga government offices to comply with this, to get those documentary requirements. Kaya po, nahirapan po sila i-comply agad ito before the deadline. So ilan lamang po yun sa mga challenges na nakita po namin during the implementation of Kadiwa. Now, punta naman po tayo doon sa mga opportunities naman. So this COVID-19 pandemic showed us a lot of opportunities po sa implementation ng Kadiwa. Katulad na lamang po sa cluster consolidation, this will help them to achieve economies of scale and sustain supply. Katulad na lamang po ng isa naming cooperative association, ang SILCA ng Region 3. Sila po ay nabuo dahil sa kanila pong pagnanais na mapaunlad ang kanilang negosyo at ng mga individual members po nila. So nagbuo po ito para sa kanilang consolidated marketing ng kanilang mga produkto. At the same time, yung intertrading po between and among FCAs and suppliers. Meron na po kaming 100 plus Kadiwa suppliers sa aming FB community na kung saan nagkakaroon po ng intertrading ang ating po mga Kadiwa suppliers. So, another agribusiness po venture para sa kanila. And another opportunity po ay yung value addition. May mga farmers po tayo na ngayon po ay naging entrepreneur na. Nakita po nila yung opportunity to improve their packaging, to process their products. Kaya po, meron po silang additional sources of income. Iba pa pong opportunities ay yung innovation na dahil po sa pandemic, nakita natin na yung available technology ay makakatulong sa atin sa marketing. So ngayon po ay meron po tayo mga promotion and marketing through digital platforms, katulad nga po ng nabanggit ko kanina na Kadiwa. And then, ngayon po nakita din natin na mas kailangan ng ating mga farmers yung available na mga cold storage facilities para po ma-address yung mga concerns natin sa spoilage. Kaya po nag-procure po ang DA through our partner FTI para magkaroon po nito. And then lastly, yung partnership with LGUs and private sector. Dito po talaga natin nakita yung bayanihan spirit nating mga Pilipino. So hindi po magiging successful ang Kadiwa kung hindi din po sa strong partnership and active participation po ng ating mga partners. So yan po ang mga nakita namin na mga opportunities sa implementation ng Kadiwa. And I hope marami po kayo natutunan sa akin pong discussion ngayong araw. Maraming salamat po. Hanggang sa muli.
Now we move on to the presentation of Ms. Marisa Muhammad from the DA Region 4, Regional Field Office 9. We'll start first with the promo teaser, ma'am, and then your presentation.
Presentation po muna at saka
Okay.
later yung ating documentation, yung mga
Ms. Rana. Sige po.
Pwede na po ako mag-umpisa. Sana marinig ninyo ako kasi umuulan dito. Magandang umaga
Loud
po
and
sa
clear po.
Okay, magandang umaga po sa lahat. And ako po si Marisa Muhammad. Palagi ko pong sinasabi, ako po ay Muslim by injection. So, magandang buhay sa lahat ng mga nakikinig ngayon sa webinar na ito at sa mga sumusubaybay sa mga ginagawa ng ating pamahalaan at ng ating inang bayan ng Pilipinas. Bago ko pong makalimutan kasi senior citizen na tayo, nais ko pong batiin ang PHTRC or yung Post-Harvest Training and Resource Center ng happy 44th anniversary. At gusto ko pong ipaabot ng taus-pusong pasasalamat sa pag-anyaya po sa amin at maging parte ng selebrasyong ito. Lalo-lalo na po kay Ma'am Matilde Maunahan. Ako po ay nagagalak din at nasisiyahan dahil sa kami taga Mindanao, partikular ang Sampen Region, ay napiling makapiling ninyo kahit sa ganito mang paraan sa isang webinar upang maibahagi ang aming karanasan sa implementasyon ng Kadiwa ni Ani at Tita ng kagawaran ng pagsasaka sa pamunuan ng kalihim na si Dr. William Vidar. I hope through this sharing, we can show you how fulfilling a life of government servants as well as the food czars are concerned. Facing challenges amidst pandemic resulted to opening of opportunities to our farmers and fisherfolk in the most important thing we created. And we hope we can see also opportunities as well as to further develop these initiatives that we have. So please bear with me with this PowerPoint presentation. A glimpse of the RFO9's Kadiwa project experiences amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Okay po. Itong Kadiwa ni Ani at Tita project, I was officially launched noong September 13, 2019 at the Food Center, Taguig City by no other than our Honorable Secretary, William Vidar. This is to intensify the realization of the DA's battle cry of bountiful harvest and prosperous farmers and fisherfolk. So on March 18, 2020, an executive order was issued by the City Mayor of Zamboanga, Maria Isabel Climaco Zulazar, the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine, which started last March 20, 2020. So under difficult times with the COVID-19 pandemic, it was really imperative that food is to be made available, affordable, and accessible at all times. So during the last 2 weeks of March 2020, preparation for the conduct of Kadiwa activities, because we can really observe that during those times last year, it was the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Division na parang hindi na mapakali Kasi kami ang napupuntahan ng mga tao kung ano na mangyari, kung ano na yung mga farmers and fisher po, paano nila ipamahagi or paano nila ibenta ang kanilang mga produkto. So for the preparation that we conducted, we had meetings with the local government units, both the city LGU and the barangay, where we are planning to have the Kadiwa on Wheels, to roll out the Kadiwa on Wheels. We also meet the farmers in order to really see that the supply and the sustainability of the foods, specifically vegetables, rice, and the fishery products, will be made available during the rollout of Kadiwa on Wheels. We also had met also with the other concerned agencies like Department of Trade and Industry, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and the National Food Authority to support the Kadiwa on Wheels in the region. We also meet with the different staff in the region, specifically the Agribusiness and Marketing Division, to prepare all the logistics and other support materials for the conduct of this Kadiwa. Also, we submitted to the management, and we thank the management of Region 9, DA Region 9, for the support given and provided during these pandemic times until to this time. Okay, so with this Kadiwa ni Ani at Tita, we have observed na during the pandemic talagang kailangan talaga namin lumabas. Although sinasabi ng lahat na napakadelikado because of this virus. But since we are public servants, talagang tiniyak namin na maparating at maipaabot yung mga food sa mga tahanan or sa mga barangay na nangangailangan ng mga pagkain. At matulungan din ang mga farmers and fisher po na maibenta kasi walang transportasyon nung ECQ. So, paano natin matutulungan? So, dahil sa Kadiwa ni Ani at Tita or sa Kadiwang modalities, we made possible itong Kadiwa sa Zamboanga Peninsula. And to think, we have 4 provinces to include Isabela City in Basilan. Ang napagtuunan po namin ng pansin na gagawin itong Kadiwa on Wheels at sa kaibang Kadiwa na modalities ay dito sa Zamboanga City. For all you know or for information, ang Zamboanga City po ay kung ating titingnan is 40% self-sufficient sa vegetables and only 13% sa rice. So nakadepende po kami sa mga karatig na probinsya na rice-producing municipalities, and of course, sa ating mga imported rice. So dapat talaga na magkakanda kami ng ating Kadiwa. No? So dito sa ating first Kadiwa on Wheels na kinandak, after so many preparations, we were able to first launch our Kadiwa project on April 1, 2020, na inumpisahan namin sa Tetuan, Zamboanga City. So, sa itong na pag-conduct ng Kadiwa on Wheels, hindi talaga namin naisip na kung ano ang mangyayari sa mga staff or mga manggagawa na nandoon, nakihalubilo sa karami-raming tao, but we make sure that with the coordination sa barangay, local government, and sa mga military officials na pwede namin i-control ang mga mamamayan na maminili doon sa Kadiwa on Wheels. And we have, We have installed strategies on how to really establish the protocols of COVID-19. So with this first Kadiwa on Wheels in Zamboanga City, we catered around 850 walk-in buyers. And it was recorded that an amount of 128,921 na na-generate namin sa first Kadiwa on Wheels. and about 4,624 kilograms of various agrofishery commodities. At bago ko po makalimutan, nung pag-meeting namin with the farmers and fisher folk dito sa Zamboanga City, meron pong isang grupo ng ating mga farmers, lalo na yung mga ornamental growers, paano na lang po kami? Sino po ang bibili ng aming mga flowers, na aming mga bulaklak kasi ECQ tayo? Ano po namin ibibenta? So, we allowed that request. So doon sa Kadiwa on Wheels, hindi lang po pagkain ang aming dinadala para ibenta, kung hindi mga bulaklak po. At sa magandang na nakita namin, pati ang mga bulaklak ng ating mga farmer growers ay sold po din po. So if you will take a look on the presentation that I have, we have the Kadiwa on Wheels, we have organic Kadiwa, we have the e-Kadiwa, and we also implemented the Kadiwa ng pamahalaan. Kasi dito sa Kadiwa ng pamahalaan, at least yung mga ating empleyado ay makaka-partake din ng ating Kadiwa ng mga produkto. Dito sa Kadiwa, sinasabi natin na mas sabi nila barato kung sa Zamboangueño pa barato kaysa doon sa merkado. I can say 10 or 20 pesos ang difference sa mga commodity, ang diferensya. So we also had that e-Kadiwa on the first 6 months of the implementation of Kadiwa in Zamboanga City. Since parang marami na talagang demand on the Kadiwa activities, and we have also other things to be done.
Hello, ma'am. Nag-hang up po kayo? It seems there's a difficulty in the connectivity from Zamboanga. What do we do? Rona? Hello?
Ma'am?
Ano kaya? Play muna kaya natin kanilang promo teaser habang wala si ma'am?
Kadiwa rolled here in Zamboanga Peninsula sa panahon sa COVID-19 pandemic as the initiative of Secretary William Dar to ensure that food is available, food is accessible, and food is affordable.
At medyo nagkaroon ng signal dito sa aking opisina. Okay, yung sinasabi ko na ipagpatuloy ko ang aking presentasyon. So the Kadiwa on Wheels really in Zamboanga City was a success, no? Up to this time. So hindi lang po sa Zamboanga City, meron po din tayo organic Kadiwa na ginanap sa ating sa Apagadian City. And meron po din tayo sa Isabela City. And of course, nung Disyembre, nag-conduct po din kami ng Kadiwa Pascua Bazaar, of which ang mga exhibitors ay nagagalak din po na meron kaming ganun na activity. Although nung Disyembre, parang medyo okay na ang transportasyon at medyo marami nang nakakalabas para maka-access ng mga food sa market. So with this kadiwa, and if you will look at my presentation, yan ay mga isang documentation na the regional executive director and ang ating city mayor ay nakasaksi sa ating kadiwa activities dito sa Zamboanga City. And with this kadiwa, the city government of Zamboanga was awarded by the Local Government Academy of the Philippines yung best practice amidst COVID-19. So talagang hindi inaasahan ng ating alkalde na makakatanggap sila ng award because of the implementation and conduct of these kadiwa activities in the region, particularly in the city of Zamboanga. So, meron po akong ipapakita sa inyo nang sa ganon ay maramdaman ninyo kung ano ang naging feeling ng ating mga exhibitors or mga farmers and fisher folk. And with this kadiwa also, we tied up with the Department of Trade and Industry in the Diskwento Caravan na programa po nila. So, paki-request lang po na i-roll yung ating video presentation. Hello po. Hello po.
Kadiwa rolled here in Zamboanga Peninsula sa panahon sa COVID-19 pandemic as the initiative of Secretary William Dar to ensure that food is available, food is accessible, and food is affordable.
Estaba sila kadiwa. Yang mga el Chapurama, yang kanya kumigo, yang mitya kami pati el dueño, pati el manager, kay ansina gane, kay kere sila, kumpra sila, kumigo mga gulay, banda direct farmer sila, hindi sila pasa na middleman, kay do si pasa do na middleman, do el precio do alto. Por eso sila, yatra ka na DA, DPLDA, ya dale din yung number, yan test kumigo, tamo yakel, yan meeting kami for 1 hora. Namu, tiene ko saya, bueno, que puede sila kumigo sa kagulay. Yo, ya firma yung kontrata para alana siya purama. Patindi lang isema mucho kumigo ya saka. El Nancy Fishing, tasakay kumigo mga gulay. El Big Fish, tasakay kumigo gulay. Nakatulong po ma'am. Dahil sa kadiwa, dumami ang namin, ang mga koneksyon, pati mga kaibigan, pati saan-saan lang kami magpunta. Ang sir namin, meron maganda, meron kahit ulan, sige ang namin. Dahil nakatulong tayo sa mga tao, sa mga kababayan natin, yung mahihirap, hindi na natin pwede ang presyo dahil tamang-tama lang. Basta may ganansya lang, konti, basta makatulong tayo.
El Kadiwa on Wheel, ben grande ayuda ya dale na diamond establishmento por cuantos meses, kami kada barangay, man sales, tiene kami pwede encontrar grandes sales por causa na programa de Kadiwa on Wheel, LDA.
Natulungan natin dito ang ating 8 Farmers Association at 25 private sectors. Kasama natin sa pagpatupad ang LGU, National Government Offices, and other attached agencies. Nabisita natin ang almost 30 communities at na-serve natin ang more than 30,000 na mga clients natin. Total sales generated is 12.5 million pesos as of this time.
Go Arriba! Agribusiness Night!
Sum up po yung Kadiwa project accomplishments under COVID-19 pandemic, covering April 2020 up to October 15. We have around 68 Kadiwa on Wheels rolled out. 5 Kadiwa ng pamalaan stores established. 17 e-Kadiwa online postings. 1 Kadiwa retail outlet. And we have recorded 23,212,480 and 50 centavos in sales. Served 55,578 households or clients. And we sold about approximately 382,030 kilograms agro-fishery products, which benefited 89 individual farmer, processors, and people, farmers, cooperatives, and associations. So with that, muchísimas gracias y vaya con Dios. Stay well, stay safe, stay healthy. Maraming salamat.
Muchas gracias, ma'am. Thank you very much for all 4 speakers for those informative and interesting and insightful presentations. And before proceeding, allow me again to shout out to our ka-freshnesses out there from Capiz, Bicol, and Kalinga. And may we all remind again our audience to please type in your questions in the Q&A section sa Zoom or the comment section for those watching us through our Facebook Live. And it's now time to entertain those questions and clarifications from our virtual audience. May we remind everyone to keep your questions coming. And may we also request our Zoom panelists, except for our resource persons and moderator, to please keep our cameras turned off because we will be focusing and highlighting more on our resource persons who will be answering those questions. So meantime, may we call on a former PHTRC director and an adjunct professor of the Institute of Crop Science, Dr. Perlita A. Nuevo, to help facilitate our open forum. Dr. Nuevo.
Hi, good morning. Ay, naku, maraming salamat dun sa ating mga resource persons. Ako yung na-excite nung nakita ko yung sinishare ni Miss Marisa about that parang may festival amidst the pandemic. Anyway, thank you dun sa ating mga speakers. First, si Mr. Boy Dizon, who talked about the his production on durian and marketing. Also, big potential to the China community. And then the second is Dr. Mon Yedra. Siya yung kadiwa or siya yung chief dun sa Amas. So, yung first speaker natin ay yung from the south, no? And then yung second and third nandito sa sa Luzon, and then yung fourth natin speaker ay galing naman din ulit sa South. So maganda yung kanyang mga, nagpapasalamat ako doon sa mga discussions na i-share nyo sa atin. And I think we have several questions for you now to answer. So maybe I will have to read it on from the chat box. Okay, I think this question is the first question is for Mr. Dizon. The question is, may sarili ba kayong transport vans or logistic provider in transporting durian fruit from Mindanao to Manila to maintain a good quality produce upon reaching supermarkets? Is it a ref van or ordinary van? Where is the preparation of durian ready to eat as shown in the slide? So that is addressed to Mr. Boy Dizon.
Well, since my farm is located in near to Cagayan de Oro, and we have preferential treatments airlines in shipping shipping our product, because we also have a high value vegetable farm in Bukidnon, and we are regular shippers of these vegetables like capsicum, salad tomatoes, different type of lettuces. And since we're catering to a premium market, we just decided to ship it by airplane from Cagayan de Oro to Manila. Then with regards to your question of where it is being opened, it is being opened in the supermarkets. Yeah, that's my answer to your question.
Okay, thank you. So premium price pala talaga yan dahil naka-airlift pala yung mga commodities nyo, Mr. Dizon, ano?
Yes. And I believe there are people who are willing to pay a much higher price compared to what is locally available, as long as they like the fruit, no?
Mm-hmm.
So if you compare it with the ordinary durian, the ordinary durian in Davao will just be sold for 50 pesos, honestly speaking. And the retail may go as high as 80 pesos. So there's really a niche market for this, and primarily these are foreigners, mainland Chinese working here in Metro Manila. That's why our durian fruits are available in supermarkets which are located in areas where there is a cluster of mainland Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think there's a second question, and I think it's also for you. Did you encounter problems regarding post-harvest handling of fresh produce?
Well, talking of durian, as you know, durian is a very sturdy fruit. In fact, the traditional way of collecting durian before was just allowing it to fall down, no? Minsan mga 20, 30 feet high ang puno. But these fruits are being harvested by hand. No, it's we just have to develop a technique we just have to develop the skills in finding which are matured and not fully ripe, because if we harvest ripe fruits, it won't reach the Manila market. So our big trees, like our 15-year-old trees, we need to climb them, and we just use a plain bukag, no, basket to catch the fruit. Ganun lang.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So the question is, did you encounter any post-harvest problems?
Well, okay. Sorry to miss that. So with regards to question, we take care of our pre-harvest. No? So the problem being encountered in durian is primarily powdery mildews. No? And for the fruits pest, we encounter primarily the mealybugs, we encounter the ants, we encounter the fruit borers. No? So we really have to spray regularly the durian fruits from the first week of fruit set to a stage wherein we feel comfortable that there are no infestations already. And we also have to regularly spray the outer portion of the tree, no? Because there are also pests and diseases which are being encountered. So it is really a practice. The fruit care is a standard practice, and also the plant care. Yeah. So it's really basically we have to establish a system of protecting the tree and the fruits. And one of the major diseases also of durian, which can kill the tree, is the Phytophthora. No. So you may have a 10-year-old or 15-year-old tree, and if you don't take care of the root system, it can kill the plant.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is Tukadiwa program. Tukadiwa program, are there plans to give grants for ref truck or vans for more perishable fruits and vegetables? Will it be economical? So that's a question to Kadiwa Group.
Actually, we respond to requests for tawag nila reefer vans. No? So there are a number of farmer cooperatives, associations who already availed of this type of vans. No? Marami na yun. So it's an ongoing assistance to those who will apply to the financial grant program.
Okay, thank you. So dun sa nagtanong, hanapin nyo na yung nearest Kadiwa, branch nyo dyan, and then you can avail.
The application can be, they can go to any of the regional field offices through AMADS. It's the counterpart of AMAS in the regional offices. So it's Agribusiness Marketing Assistance Division. They can look for them and apply for that financial grant.
Okay. The next question is to Kadiwa again. Are you collaborating with private logistic providers na accordingly ay naghahanap ng backloads when delivering to different areas of the country? Meron ba raw kayong collaboration with the private logistic providers?
To those who approach us, yes. Because that's what we're doing. We're trying to link not on FCAs with the market players, no? And one of those are logistics providers. Pero sa fruits and vegetables talaga ang lakaran dyan ay yung biyahero ang nagdadala ng produkto. So maybe the private sector logistics companies are opening up, and they would like to also include fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's a welcome move, no, for us. Just approach us, and we will link them up with the FCAs in the provinces.
Yeah, luckily last week we had a resource person by the name of Mr. Ruben Panga of Air 21, and I think very keen sila na magkaroon ng collaboration with the government, with the small growers. And I think the PHTRC would serve as a bridge to that. Tama ba yon, Director Dormy? And then...
We welcome it. We welcome it.
Oh, that's a very good...
Yes po, yes.
Kasi naghahanap sila talaga ng Kasi maganda yung kanilang dinescribe sa amin last week. Meron silang mga controlled temperature sa trucks nila. And I think they are even parang thinking of making tricycles, no, na talagang pupunta dun sa mga small growers na hindi nararating ng mga malalaking truck.
Link mo sa amin.
Of course. Dormy will do it. The
Yes
director.
po, okay po.
Okay, so there is another question here. Magkano po ba ang vegetable price rate ngayon sa Mindanao? So I think this is for Miss Marisa. Mindanao, small time farmers po ako.
Depende po. Ano pong klaseng vegetable?
Walang nakalagay po dito, pero the one who asked this, siguro pwedeng idagdag mo kung ano-ano yung mga klaseng vegetables na nire-refer mo para mas masagot ng maayos ni Ma'am Marisa.
Kasi kung halimbawa mga talong, meron tayong locally produced, but for those vegetables, highland vegetables, yan ang kulang sa Zamboanga Peninsula. So we are dependent doon sa mga Karatig region na nagpo-produce nito gaya ng Bukidnon. So kaya medyo mahal dito ang bentahan sa mga highland vegetables. And that's why we are coordinating with the City Agriculture's Office to have a research on those highland vegetables if it is possible and feasible to be planted at La Paz area in Zamboanga City.
Okay, thank you.
So yung mga cabbage and mga carrots, although they are already starting planting it in the highlands. And of course, meron din kaming iniimbita sa kadiwa ng mga small vendors because alam po natin lahat na wala kaming onion dito, wala kaming garlic production dito. So we need yung mga small vendors na kailangan din namin sa kadiwa na magbibenta. Kasi that is one of the, sabi pa nila, na mahalagang spices sa mga menu.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the next question is to Kadiwa again. What specific value-adding activities are undertaken by the Kadiwa operators? Anyone from Kadiwa can answer.
Depende talaga yun sa suppliers. Some suppliers go up to the extent of processing the commodities, the produce, no? So depende yan dun sa supplier. But most of them, dun sa fruits and vegetables, most of them, they are fresh produce yan eh. Fresh fruits and vegetables. So ang ano lang yan, ang value adding lang na ay cleaning and sorting it hanggang doon lang na stage, that making sure that they, nag-deliver sila sa supermarket dito sa Metro Manila, they make sure na kagaya sila nung Dizon na maganda yung packaging and quality of the fresh fruits and vegetables. So it depends on the capability of the FCA themselves.
Okay, so nag-aano na sila talaga noon? Nagagawa na nila yon, yung magandang packaging?
A few.
Okay.
So not many, but few. There's a need for, that's why I wish to tie up nga sa inyong sa university, sa training center, because there's a need for capability building dun sa assembly points consolidation. Talagang kailangan ng mga FCAs yung kakayahan nila to improve the pre-processing, no? So yun ang kakulangan. Ang usual na nangyayari kasi yung usual na method na binabaksak, drop off lang talaga siya, no? So but we have initiated at least in 2 trading posts, we have initiated yung may konting food safety and pre-processing. That's in Nueva Vizcaya and Baptisi. So with the assistance of the Department of Agriculture, they're putting up some some facilities, no? So we wanted to expand that kasi yun yung kailangan ensure mo ay safe and quality, no? And at the same time reduce losses.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And then the next question is, how much estimated cost was added to your operation from pre-pandemic or early pandemic to the present? And what are your forecasts post-pandemic? Will it return to pre-pandemic cost and operations? Medyo tatlo-tatlo yata ang niya, 4 na questions niya.
Sino? Kadiwa?
Yes. Kadiwa.
The Kadiwa, the intervention under the pandemic which we have shown is yung enhanced Kadiwa is really through bayanihan. It was funded through bayanihan. And bayanihan is really a budget intended to respond to the pandemic. So when the pandemic is gone, for instance, next year, so wala na yung additional budget na yun. It will be a normal, regular DA budget, no? So ang napadagdag lang sa amin because of the pandemic dito sa Kadiwa is that extra funding that they gave us. Now for next year, kasi transition pa, the Congress, sabi nila when we presented the budget, is to present to them. Ang tawag niyan yung tier 2. On top of a regular budget, sabi nila, maganda yung Kadiwa, mag-present uli kayo sa amin ng budget nyo kailangan for the Kadiwa, at least for 2022. So yun ang sinabi sa amin ng Congress and during the last budget hearing. And which we presented to them, additional budget, tier 2, in support of these efforts para magtuloy siya, no?
Okay, ako tatanungin ko lang kay Mr. Boy Dizon, sa inyo naman po kaya nadagdagan ba talaga ng budget nyo for transporting the commodities from your area to Metro Manila because of the pandemic?
Well, I can answer for my own farm,
Yes.
which is Sweet Bee Farms and Kibinton Agri-Development Corporation. Actually, I have the 2 companies engaged in farming. One is the Sweet Bee Farms, which grows high-value crops, and with the intention 20 years ago of import substitution, no? And we have our primary production area in the foot of Mount Kitanglat, and that is in the municipality of Impasugong. Then we also have a new company which is about 5 years old, which is named Kibinton Agri-Development Corporation, and this is primarily engaged in planting and production of fruits, no? Like primarily, my intention is to produce pomelo, durian, rambutan, longkong, papaya. So basically, I just want to follow what Thailand is doing. Because it's quite unfortunate that when we go to Thailand, we saw a lot of assorted fruits and vegetables, and that's where we eat the fruits we like, no? So my intention really is to have it available here in our country so that our fellow Filipinos will also enjoy. And going back to your question, we used to ship all our high-value crops by plane before the pandemic. But because of the disruptions of the flights, limited flights currently and before, we resorted to getting the services of to go, no? Itong to go na refrigerated buns. So there's a lot of excess refrigerated buns from Mindanao going to Manila because there's a lot of products from Metro Manila coming from the factories which are being and their products are being shipped to Mindanao, and when they go back they have difficulty filling up the refrigerated buns. So we resorted to shipping our all our products by refrigerated buns and partially by airplane. So in fact, I was surprised that I can mix the durian and also the other high-value vegetables in one container. No? So what we do is that we harvest it, let us say, about 7 to 10 days before ripening, and mix it with the assorted vegetables, and we set the temperature to about 14 to 16 degrees centigrade. So we were able to fix it, and have the products available here in Manila. And upon arriving here, we are also storing our durian in refrigerated rooms to delay the ripening.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question ay para rin po sa inyo, Mr. Dizon. Yung durian nila na partly peeled and with film overwrap, hindi ba problema ng supermarket ang strong odor? Is the variety with the mild odor?
Well, the variety I have is surprisingly, it has a very mild odor.
Okay.
It's not the ordinary durian. That's why they accept our fruits.
Okay. Kaya pala mas acceptable to sa mga consumers.
And I believe Filipinos will start eating it because I think that is the primary deterrent, the odor.
Kasi pagka hindi masyado talagang marunong pa kumain ng durian, hindi talaga makakain. Pero pag natutong kumain ng durian, nagiging monster
Correct.
eater.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, okay. You have something more to say?
The odor is one factor that some people started eating it.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is for Miss Muhammad. Yung organic kadiwa, yung produce ba ay galing sa certified organic farms? Yun ang tanong. Kay Miss Marisa.
Yes, hindi natin masasabi na talagang certified, pero first party at saka second party. And kasi wala pa kaming institution dito sa Zamboanga na magse-certify, at considering the cost na mapa-certify yung kanilang mga produkto, although we have parang assistance under the Organic Agriculture Program para masuportahan yung mga nag-organic na growing organic products. Pero marami pang levels ang kailangan dadaanan, and some of them fail. Pero hopefully, meron din mga farms na nag-i-insist pa rin na ma-certify ang mga organic farms sila and ultimately the products they are producing. So yung kadiwa na organic doon na kinatak namin sa Pagadian City, lahat ng mga organic growers doon sa Zamboanga del Sur inimbita para magbenta and mag-promote ng kanilang organically produced products. Although some of them, I think, nakakuha ng certification from dito sa Davao, but malimit lang talaga na may mga certified na organic products sa region.
Okay, the next question is also for you. May kadiwa po ba dito sa Davao del Sur? Parang wala po akong naririnig. Nahihirapan po kami dito magbenta ng mga gulay, lalo na dito sa Matanao, Davao del Sur. Yun po yung tanong.
Hindi po ako makakasagot niyan kasi Davao del Sur yan.
Okay.
Ang sa akin po ay sa Zamboanga Peninsula. So maybe si Ma'am Joyce, meron po ba tayong information na bakit hindi nagkakandak yung Davao del Sur ng kadiwa?
Hi, good morning, Ms. Maris, and good morning, everyone. And would like to take this opportunity to greet po yung PHRTC ng happy anniversary po sa inyo. Anyway, regarding po doon sa question sa Davao del Sur, I confirm po doon sa aming coordinator that we had kadiwa in Dasureco, yun pong electric cooperative, and dito po sa Digo City. However, nung nagkaroon po ng surge ng COVID, they have to for the meantime stop the operation, but they are now continuously coordinating with the LGU. Actually, ma'am, for the info of everyone, we are doing kadiwa in partnership with the government, local government units. So whenever they request for kadiwa, doon po nagko-conduct po tayo ng mga kadiwa. For example naman po sa mga private sector katulad ng electric cooperative, which they signified that they are interested to help kadiwa program, nagkaroon din po tayo ng kadiwa selling activities doon po sa mga lugar na yon or sa mga electric cooperative. And kung may mga concerns po kayo regarding po doon sa gusto nyo pong magkaroon ng kadiwa sa inyong lugar, maaari po kayong makipag-ugnayan sa inyong municipal kung hindi pa po kayo, kung yun po ang mas accessible sa inyo, municipal agri. Since we have a very strong coordination with municipal agriculturists po. Whenever we do kadiwa, we usually organize it together with the LGU. So kung kayo naman po ay makaka-access doon po sa aming regional office, meron po kaming pwedeng i-provide sa inyo ng mga contact details para po maka-coordinate kayo directly sa aming regional offices katulad po ni Ma'am Maris. Si Ma'am Maris ay from DA Region 9 po, sa DA Region 9 office po namin. So ganun po namin china-channel yun pong mga coordination with regards to kadiwa, specific to the regions po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Joyce. I think there's a similar question, pero siya naman ay located sa Isabela Province. Meron po bang kadiwa sa Isabela? So that's from Miss Christy Tenerife. So it's Isabela naman ang kanyang probinsya.
Yes, sa north naman tayo. So meron po tayo mga kadiwa sa Isabela. For instance, meron po tayong regular outlets sa Cagayan Valley Research Center ng DA. But also we have, as mentioned earlier, meron po kaming mga partnership with the LGUs. Ito po ay yung mga kadiwa selling activities that they are requesting from us na mag-organize po doon sa mga identified communities. So pwede po ninyong, kung nandito po kayo sa aming Zoom meeting, you can chat your contact details so we can refer you to our regional focal persons para po doon sa mga specific po na request po nyo sa kadiwa. Maaring hindi pa po nadadalaw ng kadiwa on wheels ang inyong mga lugar sa ngayon, but rest assured po, we will coordinate this with our regional office kung feasible po. And also we will coordinate with the LGUs concerned para magkaroon din po ng kadiwa sa inyong mga lugar.
Okay, thank you. So take note mo yon, Miss Christy. Ito naman, how long do the durian fruits last in China markets? Tanong para kay Mr. Dizon.
Pakiulit lang po ng question.
ang question niya po ay, how long do the durian fruits last in China markets?
Well, as I said earlier, I do not sell to China. China is a really big market, and it is dominated by Thailand, followed by Malaysia. And in my case, we just sell it locally here, primarily in Manila and Cebu. So going to your question of how long it can be kept, I believe with the proper maturity and proper temperature and proper post-harvest shipment, post-harvest treatment, and fruit care, I think it can be exported to China in a refrigerated van. And I believe it may last for at least 3 weeks. Well, I think that will be a challenge for you in the future to study,
Yeah.
the post-harvest care of durian, because there may be a time that we may be exporting durian to neighboring countries, not necessarily China, but nearby countries like Singapore, like Taiwan, So that can be studied. But honestly speaking, it's still a long way to go, Because for me, I think the main problem with our durian here is that we have not standardized our durian, and it is being treated like pomelos in the mid-1960s and 70s. I was a student in UP Los Baños during that time, and I remember that the pomelo were just put in a truck, just like the background of Miss Muhammad, wherein I see a truck with fruits. That is how pomelo was handled before. And we introduced pomelo in the 60s and put importance to the fruit. That's why we have our Dison pomelo. Yeah. So basically, we're just starting.
Yeah. Okay. So, sir, for you again, for durian varieties, can you rank the top 3 based on consumer popularity? Thank you.
Well, to be honestly speaking, since when I bought it was not identified. To be frank with you, I don't know what varieties I got from the nursery of Dinsmall. So it was just a process of selection for the past 37 years. Then I also brought in seeds from Thailand. So during my trip there, I just bought the best durian available in the fruit market and tasted it and just brought the seeds and planted here in the Philippines. So after 15 years, bear fruit, and that's where I made my selection.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to question for Kadiwa. It seems that the Kadiwa program is not being implemented in many areas that could benefit from it. Why? That's a question. Yeah, why
As
daw?
Joyce said, it's a partnership with LGUs and other sectors. What we do at DA is only to facilitate. So pagka, halimbawa, hindi gusto nung LGU to set up a Kadiwa, wala kami magagawa because it's the LGU who will put up the place, for that for the Kadiwa retail store. And kagaya sa Zamboanga, it was because of the local government unit na very supportive of the idea putting up Kadiwa. So more LGUs that will welcome the Kadiwa concept, then it will be all over the place in the country. And that's what we're doing. We're promoting the Kadiwa as a concept, no, amongst the LGUs all over the country. So yun ang ginagawa namin. In fact, I've seen some LGUs, not Kadiwa brand, but they doing the Kadiwa modality. So it's all over the place now. No? And we don't mind, because what we wanted to encourage is to put up, to have more LGUs doing this sort of thing, no? Facilitating that linkage between producers and link them to consumer markets.
Hello, if I may add to Director Yedra, that's right, because from the Kadiwa in Zamboanga City, the province of Zamboanga del Norte do their own Kadiwa there, EGU. So we recognize it as Kadiwa sa pamahalaan, although the exhibitors there are the farmers and associations of the different municipalities. Selling and marketing the products within the vicinity of the provincial office of Zamboanga del Norte.
Okay. Okay, there's an interesting question from Miss Alma Ochitorena of Bridging Point, Central Luzon. Question to Mr. Dizon. Sa usapan na ang durian fruits is considered as a premium price na only mayayaman can afford to buy, paano kaya ang masang Pilipino na hindi man lang nakatikim ng durian till mawawala sila dito sa mundo for the reason na they cannot afford to buy it? Pwede po bang ibaba to affordable price ito?
Well, it's very interesting question. Thank you for asking it. Well, actually, durian in Mindanao, specifically in Davao, during the months of August, September, they're very cheap. In fact, durian goes as low as 20 pesos per kilo. No? And I don't know what's the problem. That's why I was telling you that majority of the Filipinos do not like durian, because I'm sure that there are people bringing it here in Luzon, and nobody's making pansin on the durian. No? So it's really one of the cheapest fruit in Davao when it comes to season. And I believe it's just a matter of the people in Central Luzon to put their durian fruit stand in season and start a business. And for the people in Central Luzon to start tasting it. But it's really very abundant during the harvest season. And durian is really a very seasonal crop. And it's harvested during the months of August. That's why we have our Kadayawan.
True.
So the fruits which we are selling are just premium with a very small niche market. But durian is available during the season abundantly in Davao. And it needs somebody, an entrepreneur, who can just bring it here and put durian fruit stand and introduce it to the people of Luzon. No? And but comparing it with suha or pomelo, well, I don't know if any Filipino doesn't like pomelo. Yan ang pagkakaiba ng durian. No? Anyway, thank you for asking the question.
Yeah, thank you also. Pero may development naman tayo, no? And I think more durian trees are being planted here in Luzon. For one, meron na rin tayo dyan sa Mindoro, marami sa Mindoro. And I think meron ding nagtatanim. Actually, sa post-harvest nga, merong tanim na durian eh. Doon sa harapan ng post-harvest. And then, doon sa sa Batangas, they plant also durian. And in fairness, masarap naman. Pero syempre, mas masarap yung nanggagaling doon sa Davao. So, for the information, Miss Alma, meron naman available dito except that hindi lang ganun ka-popular. Pero dumadami na rin ang nagkakagusto ng durian talaga. Okay, the next question, and I think this was already asked kung bakit wala daw Kadiwa program sa Davao del Sur. I think that was already answered. And then the next one is Kadiwa also has projects supporting vegetable producers like seminars, technical support on post-harvest handling. Is Kadiwa also has projects supporting vegetable producers?
The support comes from two programs. One program is through the High Value Crops Development Program. So may initiatives doon, capacity building of vegetable producers up to value-adding activities. The second one is this Kadiwa. So under this Kadiwa, we're providing the different assistance. And we will be including training by next year. So kaya we are coordinating with your office because yung susunod namin gustong i-post na yung mga Kadiwa partners namin, cooperatives and associations, be equipped with the correct methods and technologies in post-harvest handling. So kaya makikipag-ugnayan kami lalo sa inyo for this effort. Sisimulan namin to starting the remaining months of the year until next year.
Okay. And
yes, ma'am, if I may add,
yes.
to Director Yedra, that's right, because when we implemented Kadiwa during the pandemic last year, the ECQ, we found out that our farmers, producers, really lacks other supporting equipment para sa handling ng kanilang mga vegetables, Yeah, so we coordinated with the High Value Commercial Crops Development Program and asked for an intervention. That is why if you will notice in the documentation in the video, we provided them with plastic crates. Kasi nakikita namin sa mga sako, sa mga karton. So during that particular Kadiwa on Wheels, we awarded plastic crates to the different exhibitors or yung nag-participate sa Kadiwa on Wheels. So that's right. And also training activities for them.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question is, good morning. My question po is for Sir Francisco Dizon. Given that we are still under the pandemic, how were you able to market your produce, durian, considering the COVID-19 protocols?
I didn't mention that the product of Sweet Bee Farms and Kibinton Agri-Development Corporation are exclusively distributed here in Metro Manila through Dizon Farms, company, which have the marketing structure developed already here about 25 years ago, dealing with supermarkets. So all the fruits and vegetables being harvested in in Davao or in Bukidnon, they are being shipped by Togo. And considering that we have already excellent road system in Mindanao, except for some small, for some segments of our road system. This is one of the biggest, we are one of the biggest beneficiary of the government infrastructure program. No? So this is now the results of the build program of our President Rodrigo Duterte. No? So that's why for the information of other growers, you can ship now your product using the container vans, and the shipping company can just bring the container van to your farm if you have the sufficient volume, and they bring it to the destination of your distributor or buyers. No? So it's very convenient now compared before. And if not for the pandemic, we would have been dependent on air shipment. No, so but due to the force of circumstances, we are now shipping by container vans which are refrigerated. And as you know, shipping time from Cagayan de Oro to Davao takes less than 2 days. No? So we can ship even our lettuces by container vans because of the short shipping period. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, as a producer, ito, for Mr. Dizon ulit, as a producer who can sell their produce directly, how much losses are incurred in this type of system? And what can you suggest to our traditional markets to reduce their post-harvest losses?
Well, talking of our products, no, we have different products. So I cannot say the figures right now because we have several vegetable products. But talking of durian, no, since our fruit care and plant care and post-harvest care is quite good, no, based on my standard, I'm happy with it. So we practically have zero defects, no, and the main problem is really if our harvesters are not experienced, wherein they harvest immature fruits and it doesn't ripen. So that is our primary concern, no? The experience of the harvesters. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dizon. Ito naman for, what is the sustainability plan for Kadiwa to continue post-pandemic?
Well, the efforts to on the Kadiwa, as I've said, it's a program now of the department, Kadiwa Inclusive Food Supply Chain. So the effort is, it will be a continuing effort, and we will be targeting per year to year, more farmers and farmer cooperatives and associations to be linked directly with the buyers and consumer markets. So that will be a regular effort of the part of DA through our unit, no? Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Service, and AMADs in the regional field offices. Kaya nga AMAS yung marketing assistance, yun na yun. It's a regular function of the AMAS.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Dizon. Do you have any available books or PDF files for farming durian? Your personal tips on growing it?
I haven't written anything, no. So, but there is a good article done by Mr. Virgilio Luquias. No, and I think for a farmer who is starting to develop a durian farm, I think that BPI guideline on durian, Philippine recommends on durian, I think is a very good guide. And Virgilio Luquias is already retired, and probably I suggest for technical assistance, he can be a good he can be the right person to talk to.
Okay.
Virgilio Luquias of Bureau of Plant Industry, and he is based in Davao City.
Okay, thank you. Ito, may question ulit. What varieties of durian has a premium price?
Well, in Davao, talking of the varieties available, the premium varieties right now is the Malaysian D101, no? And also the Kanyao. There is a Kanyao that's a Thai variety. And recently, there are nurseries which are selling the Malaysian variety, the Musang King variety. But honestly speaking, I have not tasted the Musang King yet, no, here in the Philippines. But I have tasted it in Hong Kong, and that was about 3 years ago. And the price is very exuberant because I bought one seeds for $5 US. No, so one pack was about three seeds. So I bought it for $15 US just to taste it. No, so the taste is really good, and that is the most popular variety now in China. So Dr. Pamplona of Kabakan, an ex-professor of MSU, is propagating it, and I believe he is selling it for 500 pesos per plant. Pick up in Kabakan. So that is now the most popular variety being bought because of the popularity of the variety for the China market. But honestly speaking, I have to find out if that is the real Musang King, no? Because I haven't tasted a fruit coming from his farm. But I bought some for my collection. So, but the most common variety of durian right now in Davao is the puyat, no? And they say that the puyat is a Chani variety of Thailand, but it is basically a selection, no? And it came from the farm of Mr. Vicente Puyat, the son of the ex-senator, and that's how it was disseminated. One advantage of the Puyat variety is that it is very prolific. No? It's a very prolific plant, and resistant to the Phytophthora. No, so for Davao people, they have already developed the taste for the puyat, and considering that it's a prolific fruit, it's always abundant in the month of August, and it's relatively cheap for the local market. Yun ang ano. So I don't know why no durian fruit stand were developed here in the other provinces, but I think that that should be done. No? Just to introduce the durian fruits sa local communities na which are not used to it. It's basically learning how to love eating the fruit. No? Yan ang ano ng durian. Unlike pomelo, the first time you serve it to somebody who haven't tasted it, there's always a good, as we may say, the people always like to eat pomelo, even the first people, even newly introduced people. So pomelo is a potential product to expand because that is one fruit which I believe the poor people here in the Philippines have not experienced eating it. No? So I think we should develop further our fruit industry. But the problem with our pomelo is that pomelo is very susceptible to the citrus greening disease. So it's very important for BPI or what agency to really develop an integrated pest management for the control of the citrus greening here in the Philippines. And I believe there's a lot of people who have worked on this disease which have already retired, and I heard there are no younger people who are succeeding them. No? So our fruit industry really needs a support. The banana, the pineapple industry are being, there's no need of doing those research because the big companies are doing it. But I think for other fruits, we need to activate a plan, no? Because right now I don't know of any plan which is being done by the government. No? I'm not talking of the administration of President Duterte, but I'm talking of the previous governments. No? Na ito ang isang field na napapabayaan talaga. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think that's the last question that we have here for the Q&A. Not unless meron pang gustong humabol, or maybe some of the panelists would you like to make some comments also?
I think we can just accommodate 1 or 2 questions more if there are from the panelists, because it's like 11:50 already.
Oh, wala ka pa naman
yeah.
pakain.
So shoot your questions already so that we can finally wrap up this session. Any more questions then?
Maybe nagugutom na sila din.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Nuevo. If not, we congratulate you for that Q&A portion. So before we proceed, may we request the panelists and the speakers to please turn on your cameras for a souvenir photo, an anniversary crowd shot for posterity. Cameras on.
Jean, ako ba mag-screenshot?
Yeah, please.
Okay po. Smile po tayo. 1. Okay po. And sa second, ano po? Okay po. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Do
very
not
much.
leave yet, Mr. Dison and the DA people. Again, we are deeply grateful to all our speakers today for sparing us their valuable time and sharing with us valuable insights about the challenges and opportunities in handling fresh produce especially during the pandemic. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And now, as a token of our gratitude, we'd like to present to you certificates of appreciation, which read as follows. Okay, so this is the basic certificate for all. So may we read now, Post-Harvest Horticulture Training and Research Center, College of Agriculture and Food Science, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, present this certificate of appreciation to first Mr. Francisco Dizon III, and we also include Director Ramon C. Yedra, Ms. Joyce Pengo, and Ms. Marisa Muhammad for sharing his or her valuable insights as panelists during the 44th anniversary webinar series and special edition of the PHTRC Fresh Talks, Episode 5, entitled Perspectives, Challenges, and Opportunities in the Post-Harvest Handling of Fresh Produce During the Pandemic, given this 27th day of October 2021 at PHTRC CAPS UP Los Baños, Laguna, signed Dr. Dormita del Carmen, Director, PHTRC CAPS UPLB, and Dean Dr. Elpidio M. Agbisit Jr., Dean of the CAPS UPLB. Maraming salamat po and congratulations to the four speakers for very splendid discussions today. And at this point, we would like to call on Dr. Edralina Serrano, also a former director of the PHTRC and a retired professor of the Institute of Crop Science, to give us the closing remarks. Dr. Serrano?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good noon. Okay, this webinar has come to a close, but we hope that the information that have been put forwarded by our very good speakers may help us understand fully well the realities and challenges visiting the fresh produce industry during this pandemic, as well as how in our own little ways and capacities we will be able to surmount these challenges. So in this respect, I would like to thank and foremost our able speakers for sharing their experiences, knowledge, and perspective. To Mr. Francisco Dizon Jr., the third, who dealt on the agribusiness aspects of fresh produce like durian, highlighting production that considers consumer requirements for safe and quality products. As a trivia pala, no, Mr. Dizon is an outstanding alumnus of the College of Agriculture, UPLP, with a specialization in horticulture. During the celebration we call Loyalty Day, he would supply or bring with him fresh cut fruits on a bilao, and about 10 or 20 balaos, no, for alumni who come to celebrate the event. Anyway, I myself looked forward to partake those fruits at the alumni dining table of the College of Agriculture in those Loyalty Day celebrations. Eh ngayon na pandemic, virtual, hindi ko alam kung yun ba ay tawag dito, virtual din yung mga bilao ng fruits. But anyway.
Anyway,
yes, sir.
Excuse me, Doctora.
Dr. Serrano, excuse me, your camera is off.
My camera? Okay. Yes, sir. Mag-respond ata si Mr. Dizon.
Anyway, it's my pleasure to be giving those fruits, no. And for the attendees right now, I have come back in producing pomelos, no. And hopefully by December or January, I'll have my semi-commercial production of pomelos. And I want you to taste it and
Wow.
and rate it, no? Because what I'm doing now is that what I've been doing in the States, I'll be doing with our pomelo farm. And also I'll be harvesting my durian, no, which you saw. So Julius, can you just get the names of people who are interested to taste the durian which I showed in the presentation?
We will look forward to that, Mr. Dizon, sa post-harvest at saka sa CAPS, sa College of Agriculture.
Yeah. Also the DA,
The DA, oh yes.
Director Yedra, I'd like you
So,
to...
Director Yedra, kasama ka.
Yes.
Okay, and
Find a way to get it to you.
so that you would realize how we can sell our durian for 350 pesos. No, but we're not exploiting the Filipinos, no, because these are overseas Chinese buying it primarily. So I'll give you fruits you can taste by January. Okay,
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you po. Okay, we would also like to thank Mr. Ramon Yedra, Ms. Joyce Bengo, and Ms. Marisa Muhammad, whose talks about the Kadiwa project of the Department of Agriculture brought into focus the government support platform in addressing the lack of and timely distribution of fruits and vegetables from the farm to market outlets at urban centers and cities. We also would like to thank the participants in this webinar for their interest in attending this event. We hope this seminar was able to meet some of, or if not most of your expectations. Our appreciation also goes to our able Dean, Dr. Elpidio Visit, who always accommodates our request for him to provide insightful and inspirational messages during the conduct of our activities such as this webinar. Appreciation goes also to Rachel at the CAPS office, serving as this Zoom meetings host. And lastly, our thanks goes to all the staff of PHTRC who made this webinar a success, befitting the celebration of PHTRC's 44 years of existence. Again, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Serrano, and we would like to sincerely thank everyone for actively participating in today's webinar and for celebrating our anniversary even virtually. And to receive an e-certificate, please don't forget to answer the online evaluation form flashed on screen. By the way, we would also like to invite everyone to like and always visit our Facebook PHTRC Facebook page for more updates and announcements of future webinars, as well as postings of post-harvest tips and trivia. We hope that you had a fruitful time with us. And this has been your host, Deng Maunahan. See you all again next time in our next webinar. Do keep safe and God bless to all. As they say in Zamboanga, hasta la vista and muchas gracias, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe.
Salamat Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much and God bless.
God bless Sir Boy Dizon, Doc Julius Sabularse, and the team from BA Amas. Maraming pong salamat.
Welcome po. Thank you din po sa inyo.
Thank you everyone. Keep safe.
Sa uulitin po,
Yes, uulitin.
Okay, until next time, thank you very much.
Opo,
Bye.
lalo na po pag face-to-face na po. See you all.
And we look
Hopefully
forward
next
to the
year.
fruits.
Don't worry, I'll be the one contacting you to make sure that it
Mari,
goes
Leo,
down.
sige. Mag-friends tayo.
Sir Julius pala hahabulin, ano?
I'll be
Ay
the one
nako,
hunting
mga
you down.
monster
Don't worry,
po
it's
yung
gonna
mga
happen.
taga PHTRC pagka durian.
Durian ano po kami?
Monsters po sila.
Monsters.
Thank you po, Sir Dison. Thank you, Director Yedra,
You're
Miss
most welcome.
Joyce, and Miss Marisa.
Nice
Thank you very
meeting
much
you
po. Thank you,
all.
Dean. Thank you, Miss Rachel.